Morning. Today, before we begin our flow, I'm going to talk a little bit about the mind body connection that we always hear so much about regarding yoga. So, I was always taught that yoga, the word means unity, and it refers to the unity of your mind, body, and breath. There's some other interpretations. If you're a religious person, you might say it refers to the unity of mind, body, and spirit. And of course, sometimes spirit and breath are also considered somewhat synonymous. The breath is what moves through your body, it's the constant movement that you have in your body. Even when you're asleep, you still have the movement of the breath. So, in a way, the breath is what defines the spirit. Once your breath is gone, the spirit is no longer inside of the body. So, I learned something actually very interesting in the class that I did, the program I did to get a certification to teach yoga to veterans. And that is that when you're doing yoga, even if you're not moving your body, that you can sit there, and they're talking about specifically amputees. You can sit there as an amputee and go through the exercises in your mind and not be moving your limbs because they're not there anymore. And your brain still changes shape. The reason for this, what they told me in this training, is that unlike people have thought for a very long time about the brain, that basically your brain is the computer running the body, and your brain, the job of the brain is to send signals down to the body. In fact, the brain is more than half of the time not sending signals down to the extremities, but the other way, you're getting signals from your extremities, from your body into your brain. And what this means for me in yoga is that the process of going through my practice every day and moving my body intentionally, moving with intention, tying the breath to the movement consciously, the mind, the conscious part of the movement, allows my body to gain more control throughout my entire day. The movement, the conscious movement, noticing through every pose what you're doing with every single muscle and bringing your awareness over and over again into all those different parts of your body is training the brain to be able to access and notice what's going on the rest of the time as well. So that's really where the magic of yoga is, that once you step off the mat, you are still intentionally, consciously moving your body through time and space, using the breath, tying the breath to the movement, and intentionally doing all the things that you do on a regular basis, but doing them with intention. And I remember one time somebody said to me, so basically, anything that you do with intention qualifies as yoga. Anything, any action that you take with intention throughout life qualifies as yoga. So today, as we go through our practice, I invite you to really just be aware of all of the input that you're getting from all the different senses, from all of your extremities, from every square inch of your skin, from the tips of your fingers all the way down to the tips of your toes and everything in between. And just know as you go through your practice that your brain is absorbing all of this input and helping you through the rest of your life as well, just by coming into these poses on a daily basis. So let's begin today on our backs. Any comfortable laying down position will do. You can have your legs stretched out flat on the ground, or pose. You can bring the soles of the feet together and then let the knees open out to the sides, or bring your knees up, pointing towards the ceiling, and open up your feet, letting the knees gently fall in towards each other. Bring your chest. Have any kinks in the back of the neck? Lift the heart up, pulling the shoulders close your eyes. Let yourself settle into your mat. Feel the ground underneath you, a solid plane of support. Notice how your skin is feeling today. The skin is the boundary of the self. It's such an important thing to be aware of, where you end and everything else in the world begins. Notice how your fingertips or maybe the back of the hand feels against the ground. Notice all the points of contact your body is making with the earth. Maybe some of those points of contact are with your bare skin against your mat. Maybe some of them are through your clothing. Just bring your awareness to all of those points. And then notice all the places where your body is not touching the earth. If your hands are facing down towards the earth, maybe you have a little pocket right in the center of the palm, the back of the neck. Perhaps your lower back is raised up a little bit from the ground. Notice the air around you. Maybe there's a slight breeze. Maybe it's cool or a little bit warm where you are. Notice any sounds you hear. I can hear the soft sound of the central air blowing, some birds tweeting outside. Just make a note of any sound that you hear around you. And then begin to call attention to your breath. The first, just feeling the breath move through the body, not changing anything. Feeling your inhales and exhales, lifting up your chest, opening out the rib cage to the sides, and then gently falling back in towards the back. Notice all the places that move with your breath. The belly, the ribs, and the heart. And now start to deepen and lengthen the breath, stretching the breath out nice and long. Not in a forced way, just a gentle lengthening. With each inhale, feeling your lungs fill up with fresh, clean air. And with each exhale, pushing out every last speck of stale air. Start to find your yoga breath, the Ujjayi breath. A nice loud breath you can hear in the back of your throat. If you constrict your throat just a little bit, it sounds like the ocean inside of your head, moving in and out. Let the sound of your breath fill your mind, clearing away all other thoughts and bringing you fully present, here, now, into your body, between the four corners of the mat. Focusing fully on what's inside the boundary of the skin. Start to do a body scan. We're just checking in here. There's no need to change anything, although if you would like to, of course, you're welcome. From the crown of your head, work your awareness through your facial muscles, the forehead, and point right between the eyebrows, the cheeks and the jaw. Move down through the neck, into the shoulders, into the arms, through the elbows, wrists, and fingers, and then down the spine, into the hips, and through the legs, knees, ankles, and toes. As you go through each body part, just make a mental note of anything that feels off or sore today, and remind yourself of any injuries you have, old or new, so that you can take those things into account as you move through your poses. Remember that each body is different. We all have our own unique history and our own unique genetic makeup, so that each pose is going to look and feel different in every body. I invite you to make this practice your own, modifying any pose to suit your body or taking a break at any time. Take a few more deep, full breaths here, just being inside of your body. Blink your eyes open. Draw your knees into your chest. Arms around your legs. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, lifting the forehead up to the knees. Curl into a tight little ball, squeezing everything together. Release your head back down to the mat. Bring your hands to your kneecaps and do some gentle circles with the knees, giving your lower back a little massage on the ground. And find circles going the other way. See if you can notice any differences in how it feels when you switch directions. Release your hands. Drop your feet down to the mat with the knees pointing up straight to the sky. Bring your hands up overhead. 3 bridge poses with the breath. As you breathe in, root down through the feet. Lift the hips up, pushing the belly towards the sky. Exhale, lowering down 1 vertebrae at a time back to the mat, nice and slow. 2 more times with the breath. Inhaling to lift. Stay really strong in the legs. Exhaling, lowering down nice and slow. Last one, big breath in, pushing the hips up, stretch out the belly. Exhale, release, 1 vertebrae at a time, back down to the mat. Bring your hands out wide in a T and float your legs in a tabletop, 90 degrees in the knees and hips. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale, dropping the knees down together to the right, all the way to the floor. Try to keep the 90-degree angle in the knees and hips. Right fingertips can tuck inside the crease of the left knee to help the legs stay down. And then bring the gaze over to the left hand to complete your twist. Release your right hand back out to the side. Lift your knees up to center on a breath in. Exhale, dropping them down to the left, all the way to the floor, keeping the 90-degree angle in the knees and hips. Left fingertips can tuck in the crease of the right knee to help the legs stay down. And bring the gaze over to the right hand. Release your left hand back out to the side. Inhale, lifting your knees up to center. Let's go back and forth like that. Exhale, dropping them down towards the right, keeping them up above the ground. Back up to center as you breathe in. Exhale down towards the left, but don't touch the ground. Use your core. A few more times back and forth. Inhaling to center, exhaling down towards the right. Back up to center to breathe in. And down towards the left as you breathe out. Keep going. Find your own rhythm, matching your breath to your movement. Make sure you do both sides evenly. Come back up to center, breathing in. And let's make our way to a shoulder stand. Point your toes straight up towards the sky. Bring your hands back on the mat behind you. To start to peel your lower back off the mat. Use your hands to support your lower back. And then start bringing the toes back up towards the sky. They don't need to be perfectly straight, just reaching in that direction. Be really conscious of your neck here, making sure not to turn your head side to side. Take one more breath in and release. Bend your knees. Let your back come down to the mat. Tuck your fingers inside the creases of both knees and then rock and roll forward and back a few times along your spine. Making your way to a seat. Easy pose. And if you like here, you can always sit on a block. Sometimes that makes it a little bit easier to bring your legs into the cross-legged position. You can have your feet tucked underneath the knees or open up the feet, bringing both feet, both knees to the ground. Inhale, lifting the hands up overhead. Exhale, folding forward, hinging from the hips, keeping the spine really long. Stretch your hands out in front of you. Find your edge. Round out through the back and relax your forehead down towards the ground. On your next breath in, walk your hands back, lifting up your chest, and bring your hands to your lap. Do some gentle circles with your neck. These can be faster or slower, big or little. Listen to your body. Just do what feels right. And now find circles going the other way. Bring your head back up to center. Plant your left hand down on the mat beside you. Lift your right hand up and drop your right hand so that your palm is on your left ear. And then gently pull your head down towards the right. Make sure you're not coming too much. This can be pretty intense on the neck. Nice side stretch for the neck. Release your right hand down to the side and switch sides. Plant your right hand down on the mat beside you. Lift your left hand up. Drop the left hand across Grabbing onto the right ear, gently pulling the head down towards the left. Release your left hand back down. Reach down and switch your legs. Whichever leg's in front, push it to the back. Back leg comes out in front. One more time, folding over the feet. Inhale, hands up overhead. Exhale, hinging from the hips, keeping the spine really long. Stretch the fingertips up. Find your edge, round out through the back, and relax your forehead down. On your next breath in, walk your hands back, lifting up your chest. And make your way. 2 hands and knees tabletop. Rolling over the knees or swinging the legs around to the side. Adjust so that your wrists come right below the shoulders and the knees come right below the hips. Let's move through cat cow, going with the breath. As you breathe in, drop your belly down, tilt the pelvis up, roll the shoulders back, and bring your gaze up or forward. Exhale, tilting the pelvis down, round out through the back, one vertebrae at a time, pushing the back up towards the ceiling. Relax your head and neck down and bring your gaze through your knees. Keep moving just like that, going with the breath, tying your breath to your movement. Nice and slow, stretching out the movement, taking your whole breath to complete each motion. Come back to a neutral spine on a breath in. Exhale to downward facing dog, tucking the toes under. Lift the hips up to the sky. For some reason, on my very first down dog of the day, I always feel a little bit of stiffness in my legs. Takes me a moment to work that out. Move around here. Find whatever movements feel good. Maybe it feels good to drop one knee down towards the other, pedaling out the legs. Or coming up onto the tippy toes and then pushing the heels down towards the ground. Make sure your shoulders are moving down the back, towards the hips, out of the ears. Check on your hands. Fingers should be open nice and wide. Pushing down through the pads at the ends of each of the fingers and the curve at the bottom of the palm. Your knees can be bent, but you want to push them back towards straight. You never have to get perfectly straight. Just feel that nice stretch on the back of the legs. As you push the knees back towards straight and reach the heels down towards the mat, they never need to touch, just moving in that direction. 3 sun salutations, going with the breath. Bend your knees, look forward to your hands, take a big breath in. Exhale, hop or step between your hands, forward fold. Half lift, breathing in. Forward fold on your breath out. Inhaling to standing, bend the knees, unroll the spine one vertebrae at a time, nice and slow. Float your hands up overhead. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Side stretch, inhale, hands high. Interlace the fingers, pointers up. Exhale, stretching down to the right. Back up to center to breathe in, and to the left as you breathe out. Inhale straight up to center. Standing back bend on your exhale. Cactus the arms or drop the hands down to the back pockets. Straight back up, breathing in. Exhale, folding forward, hinging from the hips, keeping the spine really long, going down. Take a half lift to breathe in. You can bring your hands to shins or float them over the ground. Exhale, double dip, chaturanga. Plant the hands, hop or step back to your high plank. Keep your knees up or maybe drop them down to the mat, lowering down halfway, elbows tucked in, back up to breathe in. Exhale, halfway down again. Up dog or cobra on a breath in. If your legs are on the ground, keep your elbows bent. Exhale, tucking the toes, lift the hips up to downward facing dog. On our second sun salutation, we're going to do our side stretch starting to the left first. Bend your knees, look to your hands, take a deep breath in. Exhale, hop or step to the front of the mat, forward fold. Half lift as you breathe in. Forward fold on your breath out. Rising up to standing on a breath in, bend the knees, stacking the vertebrae, letting your arms dangle down till you lift your neck up and then float your hands overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Side stretch again. Inhale, hands high. Interlace the fingers, pointers up. Exhale, stretching down to the left. Up to center to breathe in. And to the right as you breathe out. Inhale, rising up to center. Standing back bend on your exhale. Straight back up, breathing in. Exhale, forward fold. Hinging from the hips, staying really strong in the legs as you go down. Half lift to breathe in. Pull the shoulders down the back, open up the chest. Exhale, double dip chaturanga, however you like it. You're always welcome to just take a single chaturanga as well. Up dog or cobra to breathe in. Downward facing dog as you breathe out. Last sun salutation, no side stretch this time, just straight up and down. Bend your knees, lift your hands, big breath in. Exhale, hop or step between the hands, forward fold. Half lift, breathing in. Forward fold, breathing out. Inhale to standing, bending the knees, rolling the spine, bring the hands overhead. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Inhale, hands high. Exhale, diving forward, nice long spine, leading with the chest. Half lift to breathe in. Double dip as you breathe out. Up dog or cobra on a breath in. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Lift your right heel high. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, knee to nose. Shoulders come right over the ears, the wrists. Foot goes back up to breathe in. Exhale, tap the right knee to the right elbow. Straight back up on a breath in. And as we breathe out, tap the right knee to the left elbow. Foot goes up high. Big breath in. Step your foot through between your hands as you breathe out. And rise up on an inhale to crescent lunge. Both toes pointing forward, kind of on two different train tracks so that you don't lose your balance here. Back heel's lifted. Front knee has a nice deep bend in it. Hips squared off towards the short end of the mat. Hands come up. Pinkies are turned in, keeping the shoulders moving down the back. 3, open arm twist to the right. Take a deep breath in here. Exhale, opening out towards the right. Send your arms straight out in either direction. 2 more times, back up to crescent lunge, breathing in. Exhale, open arm twist. Last one, going with the breath. Inhale back to crescent lunge. Exhale, opening out. Warrior two. Pivot the back foot around, dropping the heel down. Check down at your feet. Your front heel should be intersecting the back heel or the back arch. Peek at the back hand, make sure it's nice and high. Notice your spine. Spine should be straight over the hips. Crown of the head stretching up to the sky. And bring your gaze right over your front middle finger. 5 yoga jumping jacks, going with the breath. Inhale, knee straight, arms up overhead. Exhale, slowly sinking back down to warrior two. 4 more with your breath at your own pace. I'm just counting so you know where I am. 3, 2. Notice every muscle moving together. And last one. Wide-legged forward bend. Drop the hands to the hips, straighten out the front knee, and turn the right toes toward the long edge of the mat. Line up the pinky toe edges of the feet so that they are parallel to each other. Big toes ever so slightly turned inward. Inhale, lifting the hands up overhead. Exhale, sweep your hands back behind you. Interlace your fingers, push down, puff up the chest, take a deep breath in. Exhale, folding forward, hinging from the hips, keeping the spine really long as you go down. Once you find your edge, relax your head and neck and peel the arms off the back. Push up through the hands, keeping the shoulder blades out of the ears, moving down the back towards the hips. Head and neck are just dangling down. Take one more breath in. Exhale, release your hands. Let your hands slide down your legs, coming to a stop at any point that feels comfortable. If you can reach all the way down to the feet, you can tuck your fingers underneath the pinky toe edges of the feet. Maybe you can even bend your elbows a little bit out to the sides to bring the chest closer into the legs, deeper into the fold. Release your hands out from under your feet, coming into a little twist here. Reach your right hand out and grab onto your left leg anywhere that feels good. Ankle, calf, or thigh is fine. And with your left fingertips, you're going to start to crawl overhead towards the right. You don't have to get very far here. Don't worry about straightening out that left arm. Notice where you feel this stretch. Where are you getting the input from your body to your brain? I can feel it in my legs, my arms, and my back. Some spots are a little more intense than others. Release your hands. Let's switch sides. Left hand reaches out and grabs onto the right leg, anywhere that feels good. Ankle, calf, or thigh. And then with the right fingertips, start crawling overhead towards the left. Don't worry about getting very far. Wherever you feel this stretch first, you can stop right there. Maybe even pull back a little bit. You always want to push your edge from the inside, not come right up against that edge, because that's where you can hurt yourself once you cross over the edge. Release both hands. Bring both hands right underneath your face. Weight comes to both of your hands to bend your knees and pull your heels in towards each other. Inhale, rising up to starfish. Exhale, sinking down into horse. Bend your knees, bend your elbows. Bring your awareness to your spine here. Sometimes we have a tendency to lean forward in this pose. You want to keep the spine centered right above the hips. Crown of the head stretching up to the sky, really strong in the legs. This is one of those yoga poses that might start to raise your heart rate. I'm just going to stay here for a couple more breaths. On your next inhale, rise back up to starfish. Exhale, opening out to warrior two. Take one last big breath in here. As you breathe out, cartwheel the hands down to frame the front foot. Send your right heel up high on a breath in. Double dip chaturanga, breathing out. Keep the foot up or drop it down. Drop the foot to come into up dog or cobra on the tops of the feet. Exhale, roll over the toes, lift the hips up to downward facing dog. Let's take a break. Make your way to child's pose. Drop the knees down, untuck the toes. Push your hips back to your heels, making sure your toes aren't overlapping. Relax your forehead down towards the ground. Let your arms come down, resting on the mat with your elbows and your fingers. You can always wrap your hands back behind you towards your feet if you like as well. Close your eyes here. Once again, take a moment to bring your awareness to all of the external input that your body is receiving right now and sending to the brain. Feel the mat beneath your fingertips, underneath your knees and your toes. Feel the air around you. Listen to the sounds, the ambient noises in your home. Feel your breath moving through the body, the back rising and falling with each breath. Stretch the breath out, lengthening, deepening each breath. Come into puppy pose. Lift your head up. Start to crawl the fingertips forward, lifting the hips up. They can come right above the knees or just behind. Reach your chin or chest down towards the mat. Feel a nice stretch in the belly, gentle back bend. On your next breath in, bring your hands back, lifting up your chest to hands and knees, tabletop. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Lift your left foot up high. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, bring your knee to your nose, shoulders right over the wrists. Foot goes back up on a breath in. Exhale, tapping the left knee to the left elbow. Straight back up. Big breath in. Exhale, cross it over. Tap your left knee to your right elbow. Foot goes back up on a breath in. And step your foot through between your hands as you breathe out. Rising up on an inhale to crescent lunge. Both toes pointing straight forward. Back right heel's lifted. Front left knee directly over the ankle. Hips squared off towards the short end of the mat. Hands come up. Turn the pinkies in. Feel your shoulder blades sliding down the back. Three, open arm twist to the left. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, opening out towards the left. Send your arms straight out in either direction. Straight back up to crescent lunge on a breath in. Exhale, opening out towards the left. Last one, just go with your breath. Come back up to crescent lunge on a breath in. Open out, warrior two. As you breathe out, pivoting the back foot around, you might want to widen the stance. Peek on the backhand, making sure it's nice and high. Spine is centered right over the hips. Bring the gaze over the front middle finger. Again, our yoga jumping jacks. 5 of them at your own pace. Inhale, knees straight, arms up. Exhale, slowly sinking back down to warrior two. 4 more. Feeling every muscle working together. 3. Stretching out the motion to match the breath. 2. And last one. One more time. Wide-legged forward bend. Drop the hands to the hips. Straighten out the front knee. Turn your left toes toward the long edge of the mat. And then align your feet with your big toes ever so slightly turned inward, lining up those pinky toe edges. Pull your elbows towards each other behind your back, puffing up the chest. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, hinging forward from the hips, keeping the spine really long as you go down. Once you find your edge, you can relax your head and neck and release your hands down to the ground. Again, you might want to adjust your feet here. Sometimes you want your feet to be a little bit farther apart once the hands come down. And then start to crawl your fingertips forward. Get a nice stretch through the arms and the back and the legs. Keep the hips in line with the feet. Make sure you're not leaning forward. And keep the shoulders out of the ears, moving down the back towards the hips. Now walk your hands through your feet. Turn your fingertips around so they're pointing in the opposite direction behind you. See how far out you can comfortably crawl those fingers. Again, we're looking for our edge and then pulling back. You never want to be right up against that edge. Pushing the edge from the inside. Walk your hands back to center, coming into an open arm twist. Plant your right hand right underneath the face. Inhale, lifting the left arm high, opening up the chest toward the side wall. Stack the shoulders, bringing the arms perpendicular to the floor. If it's okay on the neck, you can bring your gaze up towards your upper hand and keep the hips really in line with the feet here. You want to feel this twist right in the center of the spine. Take one more big breath in. Exhale, release your left hand back down to the ground and switch sides, planting the left hand right underneath the face. Inhale, right arm comes high. Open arm twist toward the side, stretching the right fingers up to the sky. Maybe you can bring your gaze up to the upper hand, keeping the hips in line with the legs. Take one last big breath in here. Exhale, release your right hand back down to the ground. Weight comes to both of your hands right underneath your face to bend your knees and pull your heels in towards each other. Inhale, rising up to starfish. Exhale, sinking down into horse. Bend your knees, bend your elbows, trying to bring the upper arms and upper legs parallel to the ground. 4 more times with the breath. Inhale, rising to starfish. Exhale, slowly sinking down into horse. 3. Again, stretching out the motion, stretching out the breath. 2. Try to take your whole breath to complete each motion. And last one. Come back to starfish on a breath in. Exhale, opening out. Warrior two. Take one more big breath in here. As you breathe out, cartwheel the hands down to frame the front foot. Send your left heel up high on a breath in. Double dip chaturanga, breathing out, keeping the foot up. Dropping it down to the mat is okay as well. Inhale to up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Again, a short break. Drop the knees down to the mat. Make your way to child's pose. If for some reason child's pose is not comfortable for you on your knees or legs or wherever, You can always take a rest in a different position, in a seat or on your back. Close your eyes, feeling the mat underneath your body. Bring your awareness back to the breath, deepening each inhale, each exhale. Feel your breath moving through your body. Bring your hands back out in front of you if they're wrapped back towards the feet. On a breath in, lift your chest up to hands and knees, tabletop. Exhale, tucking the toes, lifting the hips, downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look forward to your hands, take a deep breath in. Exhale, hop or step between the hands, forward fold. Half lift as you breathe in. Forward fold on a breath out. Inhale to standing, bending the knees, unrolling the spine, nice and slow, one vertebrae at a time. Arms float up overhead. Exhale, hands together in front of the heart. Let's do some balancing poses. I really like balancing poses because I feel that the more balance you gain on the mat, the more you can find balance in your life in not just a physical sense, but also an emotional sense and a psychological sense. So let's practice our balance here. Starting with tree pose. I'm going to mirror you, so I'll be doing the opposite side. Bring all weight to your left foot. Right knee is pointing straight out to the side. Keep the toes on the ground, sole of the foot on the ankle. Raise it up with the heel right underneath the knee. Or bring your foot all the way up on your thigh. Check in with your left hip. Sometimes we have a tendency to lean into that hip. Straighten up the spine, keeping that hip really in line with the rest of the body. You can find your leg balance to start with your hands on your hips or bring the hands to heart center. And when you like, if you're ready here, you can inhale, lifting the hands up overhead, including the arms. Notice how your foot, that standing foot, is doing. Our bodies have a tendency to constantly be adjusting our balance on the standing foot. Little motions here, keeping you nice and straight. Take one more big breath in. Exhale, release, and shake it out. Try the other side. All weight comes to the right foot. Left knee is pointing straight out to the side. Keep the toes on the ground. Set the sole of the foot on the ankle. Raise it up, bringing the heel right underneath the knee. Or come all the way up on the thigh. You can keep your hands on your hips or bring them to heart center. Or maybe you'd like to include the arms again. Inhale, lifting the hands up overhead. Notice what your right hip is doing. Don't let it push out to the side. Keep it really in line with the body. Standing up straight and tall. Feel that gentle movement of your foot constantly balancing, like the wind blowing through the branches. Take one last big breath in. Exhale, release, and shake it out. Ragdoll pose. Feet come hip width distance apart. Inhale, hands up overhead. Exhale, folding forward, hinging from the hips, keeping the spine really long, going down. Relax your head and neck down. Grab for opposite elbows, and then gently rock side to side, bending one knee and then the other. Imagine that your whole upper body is just water falling down towards the ground. Before we release, notice how your arms are crossed so you can cross them the opposite way. The next time we come in, release your hands down to the mat. Weight comes to the fingers to heel to the feet. Back together again. Bend your knees, rise up to standing on a breath in nice and slow. Take your time. Bring your hands up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Chair pose. Today we're just going to take a straight chair pose, staying in for a few breaths. You can have your big toes touching with some space between the heels, or you can open up your feet and bring your feet kind of on two different train tracks. Whichever one feels better is fine. Inhale, lift the hands up. Exhale, sitting back down into the chair. Push your hips down and back. Pinkies should be turned in to keep the shoulders sliding down the back. Spine is stretching up towards the sky, crown of the head, reaching straight up. Wiggle your toes, making sure most of the weight's in the heels. Push your hips down and back. You don't need to worry about getting down super low. Just find a comfortable spot here where you can tell that your legs are working. And breathe. Notice all the information coming in to your brain from all your muscles. Just a couple more breaths here. Take one last big breath in. Exhale, folding forward. Relax everything down. Half lift to breathe in, lifting up the torso parallel to the ground. Exhale, fold forward. Bring your fingertips to the front of the mat to heel to your feet out wide if they're not already wide. Coming back into ragdoll. Grabbing for opposite elbows, cross your arms the awkward way. Gently rock side to side, bending one knee and then the other. Feel all the kinks falling right out of your spine through the top of the head into the ground. Release your hands down to the ground and heel to your feet out even wider, toes out, heels in, about the width of your mat. Bend your knees, inhale up to standing, hands come up overhead. Exhale, sitting down into your Malasana deep squat. Bring your hands to heart center, push the hips down. You can open up your feet as wide as you need to get the heels to touch the ground. Push your knees out with your elbows, stretching up the spine, sitting up really straight and tall. If you like, you don't have to, but you're welcome to try crow pose here. If you want to try crow pose, plant your hands flat on the ground like chaturanga hands, fingers open nice and wide, slight bend in the knuckles, gripping the mat with your fingers. Bring your feet together, knees popping out wide to the sides, and then bend your elbows straight back, tucking the elbows underneath the kneecaps, making a shelf with the upper arms to float the feet. You're always welcome to have a block here underneath your head. You can also just float one foot at a time and then the other, trading back and forth until you feel safe, trying to lift both feet up. When you're ready, release, dropping the feet back down to the mat, back into Malasana. Push the knees up, stretch the spine, sitting up really straight. Take a big breath in and exhale. Release to a seat. Bring your hands behind you, fingers pointing towards the hips, knees pointing up towards the sky. Gently windshield wiper the legs, side to side, releasing the hips. Open out your legs into a V. Don't worry about how wide you can get them. Just listen to your body. Find wherever it feels comfortable. Going down first in between the feet. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, folding forward, hinging from the hips, keeping the spine long. Walk your fingertips out. Once you find your edge, you can round out through the back and relax your forehead down towards the ground. Don't worry about how far you get down here. Just listen to your body. Notice all the input coming in from your legs and your back and your arms. Feel the stretch. Where do you feel that stretch? I feel it right on my inner thighs, the backs of my legs. On your next breath in, walk your hands back, lifting up your chest. Bend your right knee and bring the sole of the right foot right against the left inner thigh. Square off your hips toward the left foot. Inhale, lifting the arms overhead. Exhale, folding forward over the left leg, reaching for the foot. Find your edge, round out through the back, relax your forehead down. On your next breath in, walk your hands back to lift up your chest. And switch sides, send your right leg back out to the side. Bend your left knee, bringing the sole of the left foot right against the right inner thigh. Squaring the hips off towards the right foot. Inhale, lift your hands up. Exhale, folding forward, reaching for the foot. Relax your head and neck down. Make a note here of whether you can go down farther on one side or the other, or maybe they're the same. I notice that my sides usually are different. They don't look like it, but the body's not symmetrical. So it seems like I can always go down deeper on one side or the other. On your next inhale, walk your hands back, lifting up the chest. Send your left leg back out to the side. We're going to go down in between the feet one more time. Inhale, hands up high. Exhale, folding forward, nice and slow, hinging from the hips, keeping the spine long. Walk your fingertips out, find your edge, round out through the back, relax your forehead down. On your next breath in, walk your hands back, lifting up your chest. Bring your knees pointing up towards the sky, feet planted on the mat in front of you. Hands come behind you, fingers pointing towards the hips. Once again, windshield wiper the knees side to side. And let's come all the way down onto our backs. Draw your knees into your chest. Wrap your arms around your legs. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, forehead comes up to the knees, curling into a tight little ball, squeezing everything together. Release your head back down to the mat. Happy baby pose. You can hold outside of the knees with the legs bent, or you can open up the feet and reach for the pinky toe edges of the feet. And then push your tailbone back down flat on the mat. Gently rock side to side. Trying to keep that tailbone really flat down on the mat. You can also bend one knee and straighten out the other leg. Back and forth like that a couple times. And release, making your way into Shavasana. If there's any last pose that you'd like to do that we didn't get to in class today, you're welcome to take that now. Otherwise, just find the most comfortable laying down position you can. Lifting the heart up, pull the shoulders down the back. Bring the chin into the chest, rock the head side to side, letting your head fall back to its natural center point. Position your legs how you like them, an easy pose or bound angle. Find a comfortable position for your hands, palms facing up or down, or bringing the hands to the heart and the belly. Once you're completely comfortable, release your body. There should be no more tension in any of your muscles here. Imagine that you're melting into the ground. Release your breath, making your way back to natural breathing. And release your mind. Just watch your thoughts come and go, like little fishies swimming by you in a river. You see them and then they swim away and disappear to be replaced by something new. Find a few moments of stillness to complete your practice today. Blink your eyes open. Start to make your way back up to a seat. Thank you so much for joining me today for yoga. Namaste.